The government allowed fraud to take place in home care businesses so they can make a fuss about it when they're running for election. There is enough technology out there to prevent fraud from taking place in the first place. For example, do you know Uber and Lyft are in the same business when it comes to tracking users? Obama, during his presidency, implemented something called electronic visit verification, EVV. All home cares, personal care agencies, home health agencies, and many waiver programs use EVV as required to participate in Medicare or Medicaid. So what's the problem? The same government, same Congress who put in place electronic visit verification also put in also allowed loopholes that can be ignored. I am in the technology side of the home care business. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, why is this even allowed? I had a meeting with the state of Ohio, the department that authorizes Softia to be a vendor in the state of Ohio. And they made us go through a lot of hoops. But one of the things that was I was surprised with was they wanted me to add two buttons into the EVV collections of the collections of the visit. They wanted me to add home and community, so users can click home and community. When I asked that guy, hey, you know, we can track people through GPS, um, and these home and community are pointless. He said there's other ways we can find out if they're committing fraud. So they allow loopholes. Another loophole is there's something called exceptions. You can you can work and be EVV compliance if you clock in using exceptions. What is an exception? My phone did not work. A lot of bullshit. There's like six of them. But I believe allowing exceptions invites fraud. Okay? In our software, we decided to give the company an option to disallow exceptions, even though it's in the law. The reason we did that is because people will abuse exceptions, and that just unnecessary, and it's not good for business. And Uber and Lyft are not using it, and they are in the same business. They are in the tracking business. So why exceptions? Another one is you let people you track people when they're clocking in for their shift, and then you stop tracking them, and then track them again when they're clocking out for their shift. What about the time in between? That invites fraud. We already have the technology to track you if you're not at that client's house, or you have not indicated to the agency where you are going with that client, or whatever. If you're leaving that, yes, there is some community things that has to be done, but most of the job for home care gets done at home. So for that reason, you can continuously track a caregiver, preventing fraud. Those who clock in and just leave, there have been people who have been accused of doing that. It's not allowed. It's a loophole that can be exploited um, in the system. Okay, the biggest loophole that I am shocked by is the fact that family members are not required to use EVV. There is a bypass that People who are family who live together, people who live together, not family members, can skip the whole EBV thing and still be Medicaid. That's a huge no-no in a normal world because whether it's a family or not, um, I don't see the reason. So yes, there is. I trust you. Go do the job, and there is. I need verification now before you bill me. So the government should really push for. I need verification now before you bill me. If they really care about 100% compliance in the billing services, in the billing department of these services, and then if this is all about elections and fuzzing and how am I going to get elected next cycle, go make a fuss about this Medicare, Medicaid that continuously, that this trash that never ends, then we're not looking for a solution. We are just making a fuss about it so we can get elected by it. And that's just bullshit. Or some people say you stole a couple of $1 trillion from the programs and now you're freaking out because calling it Medicaid cuts will will cause you some votes, so you're going to call it Medicaid fraud.